you stuck? 3 fat bunnies. Tons to go. They do flap in the wind. Good morning. Welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. It has been 2 days since we put Talia, the La Mancha goat, down after a week-long sickness that the vets couldn't figure out, and I still don't have the results from like the preliminary necropsy. Good morning. It's not milking time quite yet, ma'am. It's not. I'm out here just doing my normal morning rounds. I've been feeding hay still every other day just to make sure that they are getting everything that they need. I'm still not completely convinced that our pasture is of good quality. I have no reason to think that it is, and so I want to make sure that they are getting what they need for sure. This here is orchard and alfalfa. There's quite a lot of alfalfa in here. The alfalfa, it's kind of hard to tell. It's these little leafy bits. That's alfalfa right there. So we'll climb the mountain to give you all hay. See, some of my higher production does are they're just a little thin. So here's Tizzy, Clover, and Elsa. They always look a little thin in the mornings if they haven't, been out on pasture, if I haven't given them hay in the barn overnight. But they kind of stay that way throughout the day. It surprises me a little because we do have a lot of ryegrass out here that they are partaking of. There's a lot of good green things happening down the pond, and they've been frequenting the pond. But if there's not enough substance, it doesn't really matter. You could eat tons of iceberg lettuce and you're not gonna get fat on iceberg lettuce, Not that I want them fat, but they need to be able to support their lactations. Look at Clover. Holy moly girl. So even though she doesn't have kids on her and I only milk once a day, it's still a little bit rough keeping condition on her, and Elsa especially. So one of the reasons that I like the mini La Mancha breed, this is Tizzy here, she's a little thin looking, but I feel like she's bouncing back a little bit better than these girls. I had switched from a rice bran pellet feed additive to keep condition on my goats to black oil sunflower seeds, hoping that the fat content in the black oil sunflower seeds would help make the meat stick to their bones a little bit more, but it hasn't, so I have switched back to the rice bran pellet, and so we just need to give it some time. Yeah, you go eat. You go eat. Now, Talia's babies, I had some questions about them. This is Helicity, and then we have Gale. Nope, this is Missy. Gale has elf ears and Missy doesn't. They look very similar from afar. That's Frenzy. Where's Gale? Helicity, where's Gale at? Where's Gale? There she is. I ran around the barn twice looking for her. There's Gale. She is pretty skittish. It's okay, we'll work on her. Talia's babies were 1 day shy of being 8 weeks old when she first got sick. So I'm pretty sure her milk dried up basically from day one. At least it started to dry up, and over the course of the week that she was sick, they were trying to nurse, but I doubt that they got much at all. And so they're weaned now, but thankfully they were of age, the minimum age for weaning when she got sick. So far they've been doing really well. They had called for her, crying for her for the first couple of days, but I think they've realized that she's not here. Helicity is a lot easier to walk up to and pet, and Gale kind of needs to be super distracted to allow it, but see. So we'll get her going. Yeah, your mama did a good job with you guys. You're nice and big. Hey, pigs. Hi, girls. Shake and bake. And of course, Queen Chloe. You guys hungry? You hungry, Chloe? Normally I click my camera onto the hog panel there, but those little girls will get up on their hind legs. All right, you girls have a good day. Hey boys. Hi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, boys. You're not stuck, right? Because if you're stuck, I gotta get my... Sir? Oh, yep, he's sure stuck. I'm also missing... Oh yeah, I see the other two over there. Dang it, Ruckus. I'll brave the bees, I guess. Poor Ruckus. Oh, it's Hullabaloo. Okay. Hey, are you stuck? Yep. Tell me, you don't need horns to get stuck in places. All right, let's go. Come on, let's get away from the bees. It was one of those situations where if he thought a little bit harder, he could have got it himself. Come on, let's go. All right, we got nine babies back here. Well, including the big ones. Everyone's good. No one's got a weird looking booty. Hi, Bear, good morning. Hello. Yep, okay, I'll feed the rest. Might recognize Willie. I just pulled him off of Shindy. Willie was definitely old enough to wean, and I noticed Shindy was looking a little thin too. So just taking one baby's pressure off of her body will be helpful for her. Gonna need some more feeders, huh? I'll get on that. I haven't had to supplement hay to the boys. I have stopped feeding them like the middle of last month. It's probably been about a month since the boy pasture had any supplemental hay, and they all look good. But of course, they have a lot less demand on their bodies right now. One, two, 3 fat bunnies. C-Doe is due today. I don't think she's done anything. No. B-Doe here had 9 on camera in the last weekly vlog. She has since lost 2, and one of them seems kind of skinny. So we'll see 1. This is the thinner one. And it's not looking awesome, but it's not looking like I need to feed it. She has been feeding it. It has been getting milk, so I'll check it again later, make sure. But I think it's gonna be fine. And then Jumper has 6. We have 2 white and 4 black. It looks like 4 of them are up front here. And then we have 5, 6. Our babies all look good. I don't really mind the babies hanging out in the front of the nest box. They tend to do that when it's hot. They come out of the deep parts of the nest and out into more of the open, and they kind of like sprawl out. Fill that bucket up in 5 seconds. Yup. Good girl. Back. Do you want this one? Is that the one you want?
Yeah, mini pearl goes last. And the baby favored one side, so one side is so much better than...
Can I help you? Look at his ear.
And that's my doling I bought this year.
Hi, baby.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I know, I allow it, and I shouldn't.
I do too. Stop it. Elsa.
Oh, thanks.
rotten little turds.
So I didn't actually come here to play with goats today. We came here to process chicken, but I am coming home with a couple souvenirs because I just can't help myself.
You do have a buck problem.
I do. There's 6 bucks. Plus him, 7. Isn't who needs 7 bucks?
I don't know.
Nobody.
But say I'm pretty.
I want to do a little bit of experimenting with crossing the mini Nubians into our mini La Manchas.
She wants some ears.
Sort of, but like they're cool looking. They're like a little bit longer than elf ears. Super neat. But he's flashy with his blue eyes and moon spots.
And a good temperament.
Yeah, and they've grown well for you this year, haven't they? She said she hasn't had Cluck City in her barn at all year. That's good because it's been wet and rainy.
It has.
All right, they look good. Are they 7 weeks old?
7, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I can't show most of the process of chicken processing without getting a ding on the YouTube channel, so I'm not going to show everything. But I don't personally like raising chicken or processing chicken, but I like my friends, and they requested our help. There's 35 chickens that are going to be done today. The guys are in the dispatch portion, and we're going to do like the gutting and cleaning portion here. They're getting rained on, and we're not, so we've got the good job. I don't know if any of y'all have ever used this guy. It is a lung scraper. Chickens' lungs are kind of like embedded in their rib cage. It's really bizarre, and it can be kind of hard to get out. And sometimes the rib cage can almost, I don't know, it's like sharp and it can get under your fingernails and it's a mess. I'm excited to use this tool today.
Listen, it's
Thank goodness. Oh yeah. 2 down, tons to go. Good morning. So I didn't film a whole ton yesterday. We had a great time with our friends helping them process 35 of their meat chickens. So they've got a good full freezer now. And I know that feels good. And I know how much it helps to have competent help. And so we were happy to help for sure. We came home with 4 chickens, which was a blessing. We don't eat a lot of chicken, not because I don't like chicken, but because, well, I like the meat. I think I mentioned this before, but I don't necessarily like raising it or butchering it. But we're excited to have some chicken in the freezer, as well as 2 new baby goats. So some of you may be thinking, Heather, you needed new goats like you needed a hole in the head. And like, yeah, you're kind of right. But one of the things is, we like to eat goat meat. We eat our excess bucklings here. And I actually had way more does born this year than I anticipated. I kept back more bucks than I anticipated for our breeding program. And I sold more bucks than I really thought that I would. Like little Gary, he was just too sweet to put in the freezer. So we sold him, and we sold a couple other bucks that I really had thought maybe they would just go in the freezer. So I kind of was a little bit low on goat meat for this year. So I decided, because my friend Megan had extra bucks, that I would just pay her for her extra bucks and grow them out here and butcher them here. However, that beautiful little boy with blue eyes and moon spots, I kind of want to try breeding him over some of my does just for fun this fall to see if we can bring in some of those blue eyes and moon spots. When you combine a Nubian and a La Mancha, it's called a New Mancha. These would technically be mini New Manchas, but I'm excited. So currently I have 7 breeding bucks on the farm. That's not necessary by anyone's standard for sure, but I have them for different reasons, and I kind of want to see what they can do with different combinations and things, and I'm sure we will cycle some bucks out. I already have plans to cycle a couple out after I put them over a couple does for fun. But yeah, that's the situation right now. Times are good right now because the grass is growing, but we'll see how many we go into winter with. This is the last time I will milk Breezy. Breezy and Alara are going to their new home today. These are 2 of Talia's daughters that were going to be going to the same farm with her. Unfortunately, we lost Talia, but they're still going to take these 2, and I know they're going to love them. them because I'm noticing that some of my Nigerian dwarves look like they're in heat, and we're coming up on breeding season for the Nigis. And I was like, if I breed them today, is that too early? It is. I try to have the fall kids due after my anniversary, which is at the end of September. So anytime in October is great. Ideally towards the beginning part of October, because I want to sell some of the babies and people want to buy them as like Christmas presents or whatever. It's good timing for that. Yeah, I think Winnie's in heat, but if I were to breed her today, her due date would be my anniversary, so I can't do that. Last time milking Miss Alara today too. She's going home with her sister later. You guys, I just did something that felt wrong in a way, but also felt really good to do, and I'm hoping it does something. So I have a bunch of these okra pods, and I sold a bunch on the website, and I don't need a whole bunch of okra. Each one of these pods holds probably at least 60 seeds, and I don't plan on really like intentionally, I guess it's probably a lie, but I didn't put okra in my garden plan at all this year, but I had a bunch of this leftover okra. And so what I did was I just broke all of these extra okra pods open over my compost area, and we may get a whole bunch of okra, like an okra forest going on over there. It was really fun. We'll see what happens later on. But we're in the shed today so that I can take out the milk out of the freeze dryer. I actually don't frequently preserve my milk this way, but I have given quite a few jars of freeze-dried milk away, especially when I sell a bottle baby and someone wants to transition their bottle baby from the milk that they're used to into something like maybe store-bought cow's milk or something else. And that has been really useful, but also this time of year I really get horribly cracked hands, and I have a couple different salves and things and balms that I've made that I really enjoy, but one of my favorite ways to apply lotion lately has been a lotion bar that one of my members sent, Miss Linda. She sent me a lovely lotion bar. Let me go get it. Nana's Naturals, and what the lotion bar is essentially just like a solid oil bar. It's oils mixed with beeswax, and you can take it out and rub it on your hands like this, and you can even put it on your elbows or on your knees or on your feet or anywhere like that. And the tallow bombs and salves that I've made in the past are just kind of stuck in their container, so it's a lot less easy to just sort of run it over your whole body, and I like this delivery method. So I want to make some lotion bars, and I want to make them with goat's milk. I've seen a couple different recipes for lotion bars that contain goat's milk, and they all use powdered goat's milk, and so I stuck some more of our goat's milk in the freeze dryer so I can have my own powdered goat's milk. Isn't that crazy looking? There's actually quite a lot of solids left in milk. It's kind of crazy to see how much is left when all of the water is taken out. I could use this pickle pounder to really smash this down and cram in more milk than this. But what I did was I put a half gallon of milk on each tray, and so I know that in order to get a half gallon of milk, if I wanted to reconstitute this into milk rather than use it for the lotion bars, I would just fill this back up with water, give it a shake, and I would have a half gallon of milk that would be like the same nutrient density as like a fresh half gallon of milk. Got a little desiccant pack in there just in case there's some excess moisture, mostly from the air. Crank it down, then we're good. There we go. As far as I know, you don't use a whole ton of milk in these lotion bar recipes, so this is gonna last a long time. I'm sure it's not the only thing I'm gonna use this for. And check out the ice that's in here. This is all of the water that was inside of the milk. And I had some milk stick to the top. I'm gonna have to wash that, but isn't that amazing? Outside this morning, bright and early, really before more rain comes, to collect the multiflora rose that I have out here. These guys only bloom for a couple of weeks, and this honestly might be a little bit past prime. What I'm really looking for is to collect the flowers that still have quite a bit of bright yellow pollen on them. Those guys are prime. The ones that are a little bit brown are a little bit past their prime. I'm gonna stick these in the freeze dryer. All parts of the rose plant are edible. This is a multiflora rose, technically an invasive species, but we have it all over the place in my area here, not just on my property, but on all properties that I have noticed. And I figured, even though it's invasive, I know it's medicinal and I might as well take advantage of it. It just happened to volunteer here on my property last year in one of the most perfect locations. I already had like a little trellis here. It volunteered right in the middle of it. It just seemed like it was one of those things that maybe I should pay attention to and look up and figure out how to use. So you can actually use rose in several different ways. My main purpose is I'm going to be putting it in some salves and in teas. In something like a salve, it's going to have a nice cooling effect on the skin, kind of hydrating and revitalizing to the skin. Those of you that have heard of like rose water face treatments and things, think of that. And in teas, it's going to be like an overall balancer. It's called an adaptogen, which just balances everything all over, especially hormones. Now I am 38. Am I 38? Am I 38? 37. Now I'm 37, which isn't old, and I would say it's not exactly young. Like, it's definitely on the younger side when you think of an entire lifetime. But for women, that's kind of getting to the upper end of our prime with things like our cycle, and I'm starting to notice that maybe I need to be helping my body balance out some of the hormones and things, and so this is going to help with that. There's actually enough on here where I know I can collect a lot of flowers and still leave plenty on here to develop the rose hips. And essentially what that is, it's like a little berry that forms at the base of where the rose came out. You can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Underneath the rose flower, can you see underneath that bud right there? There's like a little bulb. That's going to turn red and it's going to swell. That's really where the seeds of the rose are. Not all roses produce hips, and I didn't realize that. I thought all roses produced hips. These guys do, and they're full of vitamin C. And so by leaving a lot of the flowers on, those will develop the hips. Later on in the year, we can harvest those and use those as well. I am a little bit late coming out here. A lot of these flowers have gotten past their peak, but there are some real good ones in there still. I'm definitely still in the learning phase of all things herbalism. And having said that, things like rose are easy places to start with herbalism because it's hard to go wrong. They are good for a lot of things, and all of the parts of the plant are edible. same day. I did change my shirt because it got warmer today. But came out to get some herbs for dinner and heard that scream again from a goat. This time there is a goat stuck. See how much more full they look later in the day? You getting that good grass, girl? Yeah, is that Gail?
Yeah, it's Gail.
Okay.
But I thought it was.
Hang on, Gail. Yeah. Girl, for real. This 4x4 wire, I like it, but the babies can get their heads through and then suddenly they can't. And sometimes these little ears act like horns, making them feel like they're stuck when they're not. Good girl. Gosh. Winnie, you're nosy.
There's a goat chewing on my cloak.
Okay, look at this. I've got some very enticing weeds on the other side. Alrighty, girls. Carry on. Looks like my ryegrass is starting to set seed, which is cool. This is annual ryegrass that I put down, so it doesn't come back by the root, but it will reseed. Look at Elsa with her hackles up. Who are you trying to act big in front of? Is it Addison? When she does that, it makes her look even more like a dinosaur. It's one of the great things about goats is that oftentimes they avoid the seed heads. They will eat them, but they leave enough behind that their forage can reseed, so it's good. Okay, back to what I was doing. It had actually been so long since I roasted a chicken, I had to look up what to do. Thank goodness for the internet, am I right? If you are new or otherwise unaware, we raise rabbits on our homestead for white meat, and so that's what I'm used to cooking nowadays. And goat, and venison, and pork. So we've got herbs and garlic on the inside. I tied and trussed the legs. This is wool yarn, which is pretty tolerant of pretty high temperatures. I have the oven set to 325, buttered the outside, salt and pepper on the inside and the outside. I'm just gonna put a splash of broth at the bottom. Now the internet says to cook for about 2 hours. This bird is over 5 pounds. Oh, it smells lovely. I actually just got done editing the first part of this video and I realized that I didn't show you a good up close look of the new goats that we got. So we're gonna go over there this morning so that you can really see them. They're adorable and they're very, very friendly, which is awesome. But also I just got off the phone with the vet. I know that a lot of you know that we're waiting on necropsy results from a goat that we had pass away. And I've been talking about her the whole vlog. Her name is Talia. And the short answer is we still don't know. We have a few answers, and those answers are she didn't have a blockage. She had extensive necrotic ulcers in her lower bowel. What we don't know is why they're there or what caused them. I've been doing tons and tons and tons of research on things that can cause those kinds of ulcers in goats, and basically it can be almost anything from bacteria to worms, and they have run a bacterial culture on her, and the aerobic culture is back, but the anaerobic culture is not back. One of the trays that they had for the aerobic culture, which means it's a culture that's exposed to oxygen, One of those had grown a gram-negative bacteria. We don't know which one yet. And the anaerobic culture, we don't have the results of that yet. So we do know that it wasn't a blockage at this point, and I really feel like we have more questions than answers, both me and the vets at this point. But we'll know more once all of the cultures and things are in. We still don't have that. When I tried to fill the freeze dryer yesterday, I couldn't get it all the way full. And you need to have the freeze dryer trays full when you run it. It just helps the computer know when things are dry. If you have a tray in there that's empty, it acts like a dry tray and it can kind of throw off the mechanism. So I put these lemon balm leaves on the trays that didn't have roses on them, because we have a ton of lemon balm around our house. It's a lovely tea. Aren't they gorgeous? The pigs are letting me know that I'm doing things in the wrong order this morning. My apologies, my queen. So those of you that watched the video where I discussed all of Talia's issues, you know that I kind of made a face when I said, you know, the vet's best guess is an ulcer. And I was like, well, the reason that I made that face was it really was a guess. It was a good guess in hindsight on the vet's part, because Talia's blood work came back normal, except for she did have elevated glucose, which we don't have an answer for that, but everything else was within normal range. And I guess I don't know what it is that they look at for a marker for ulcers, but even that was within normal range. For her, it was just in the upper end of normal. Like, these levels were on the rise, and so we treated her for that, because that's the only thing that could have been starting to look abnormal. And that's why I'm kind of still confused, because I mean, we treated for everything to include ulcers from day one, but stuff it just wasn't moving. That's my guess, is stuff was not moving past a certain point in order to treat those ulcers. I don't know why they were there, but we'll learn. Where are my boys? This is an unusual sight. I don't know where they are. Maybe they see the dark clouds and they ran. Come on, boys, I'm feeding you. There are new babies, their ears flapping. Come on, sirs. Y'all are so cute. I probably should have filled the feeder before I called you over. Good morning, boys. This is the first day I've actually seen them eat any grain. I'll come in there so we don't have to look at you through a fence, okay? And we scan the booties, looking for scours. Everyone looks good. Yeah, you're the skittish one. It's okay, baby. It's okay. This is really the one that I want to use over our does, or some of them, at least Elpis, this fall time. He has moon spots, and if you pet him just right, it's like a little skinny heart, and he has blue eyes. And he actually comes from some pretty good lines, for sure. The farm where I got Elsa and Clover, Talia, Calamity, that whole place, they had his mama, and she breeds some very beautiful goats. Megan's buck Benji comes from a dam that has a really nice udder, so we're not just using him for his beauty. You probably saw how fast his mama milked out. She was the one where I said she's gonna fill that bucket in 5 seconds, and that happens to be an area where my goat Elpis really lacks. She's very hard to milk out, so if we can have her have daughters with some of that improvement with easy milkability, that's great. You're such a handsome, and he's sweet. He's sweet, that's for sure. With these ears, they're actually somewhat pendulous. They hang down. They're not quite airplane ears. I don't know what to call them. with Nubians, there's like a certain percentage drop, and they both have drop ears. They're not really airplane ears necessarily. They do flap in the wind. They're handsome. Look at him. So cute. And he's not horned. He was just sputted, but should have done the figure 8 on him. So he's got some decent skirts, but it's all right. We'll deal. How's it going, Farrell? What do you think of these new babies? Oof. Huh? As far as I know, everybody's been getting along great. Yeah. So yeah, that's that this week, you guys. Got plenty more to do. I'm gonna be working on the lane this coming week, and so that's exciting. And we should start breeding our fall kidding does very soon. Got this pen all set up. I want the grass to grow a little bit longer and to give ourselves a little bit more time, so we're solidly into October when the babies are born. So we've got that to look forward to, plus more definitive answers on Talia. Also, this smells lovely this morning. I'm probably going to be making another harvest, trying to fill the freeze dryer again. So I hope you guys have a good weekend and rest of your week. I'll see you guys again soon. Is it time for me to milk? Yep, I'm coming.